You're a veteran, sir?
Yes, I am, sir.
What branch?
United States Air Force.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
How long were you?
13 years.
All right. And what, you fell behind and...
I lost my job. And
first and foremost, I would like to state that...
Hold on a second. Why do I have this case? Because...
105%.
Which one?
47.
All right. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
I was going to say that she has been using my personal information to impersonate me, and she's still harassing me. But apparently, the neighbors have been telling me that as well.
I'm here on a writ hearing.
Your Honor, from plaintiff's perspective, this is a writ hearing. We are coming up on the 56-day time hearing issue. As of our last hearing, we acknowledged that the defendant had made a $7,600 payment towards the rent that was owed when this case was filed. We've a balance on that particular judgment of $4,107.37. The court was adjourned that so that that amount could be tendered to the plaintiff. Thus far, we don't have those funds. And furthermore, Your Honor, there's currently another 3 months worth of rent due.
Are you going to pay off this judgment?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I'm going to pay off this judgment.
I'm going to pay it, but it's not right. I would like to go over it because I do not owe that much.
Okay, ma'am.
There, that I would like to look over and see something about repairs, but nothing was repaired. So I'm trying to see where the extra money is coming from. Still paying the warranty.
Lyman, this judgment was issued in March.
I have $6,600 to pay, but I would like to see everything before I pay it, so I just don't use.
That's the judgment. I'm not disturbing the judgment.
Well, it's not right at all because I should only hold $1,000.
I'm not disturbing the judgment. Judgment is what it is. I don't have anything filed indicating that I should even look at that judgment. That's what the judgment was issued for. I'm now in May. If you pay off the judgment, they got to figure out what they're going to do.
I emailed the court the day of when that happened, saying it wasn't right.
All right, let me just be clear. I'm not doing anything with the judgment. You can keep talking to me about it if you want, but I'm going to tell you the same thing. So your choices are you either pay off the judgment or I just deny this and they're going to go forth and do what they got to do. So which do you want to do? There is, you said 4107.
37 on the
judgment.
On the judgment.
You said 37 or 40?
$4,107.37.
Okay. I think we were starting at the wrong one. All right. Are you going to pay that off? When are you going to do that?
66 that I can turn in next week.
Well, I can't. Lyman, I thought you said you had 66. Do you have?
I've been in the hospital.
Okay, I got that. I understand, and that's why I adjourned the proceedings out. But there's about $4,000 that's owed on the judgment. When is that going to be paid? Because the writ, Ms. Lyman, understand, the writ is sitting here in front of me right now. When is it going to be paid? Because I'm assuming if you pay that next week, and if I remember the rental rate, it's about $3,300 or something like that, it's going to go up again. They're just going to begin the case again. I mean, but that's not where I am right now. What day next week are you going to pay this?
Say,
I can't. That's not even next week. That's the week after.
we'll have it till the 8th.
And at that point, they're going to be 4 months, right? Is that right, Counsel?
That is correct, Your Honor.
So then I'm going to be what, 12 plus, well, I'm going to be about 13,000 behind at that point. Simon, I can't continue to do that. I don't mind giving people an opportunity to pay and catch up, but I can't do it. So, you know, the way it works is that I'm signing the writ, I'm issuing the writ, I'm denying the motion to stay the eviction, or I'm not staying the eviction. The writ is signed. If you pay it prior to the execution of the writ, then fine, but otherwise I'm not doing anything else. I can't, in good conscience, do that. So, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, it's gonna need that. Haverhill on Clark versus Sylvia Amory Brewer.
Good morning, Your Honor, or afternoon, Your Honor, and the case P78292 for Haverhill on Clark.
Hello, what's your name?
Sylvia Amory Brewer.
All right, where are we on this?
Your Honor, the plaintiff is still showing a balance of $5,692 in rent retained, and that is inclusive of court costs and service fees. We did have a preliminary hearing. This is our second hearing. It's my understanding that the defendant applied to Hawk, but was declined. Was declined because the amount in controversy was too high. At this point, we are requesting that the court enter a judgment in the amount of $5,692 to be paid out of the fortune made.
Ma'am, what do you have to say?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, this is my second time standing before you.
Sorry?
This is my second time standing before you, and the gentleman called my name and asked me to speak with him. And I asked him, would they be willing? Originally, I'd asked the other attorneys that was here at my first hearing if they would give me till the end of June. I thought I would have it by today, but I do not have it by today. I did pay something, what I could today. I just went and looked at my balance, and I almost paid a fourth of it today of the balance that's in my bank. It's a little bit, but they can give.
Hold on.
Yes, sir.
All right, all right.
Thank you.
You're talking real fast to me, and I'm just trying to keep up with you, and I kept up with you to a certain point. But and so went to the pay some.
I paid a little bit today, and can you show the judge this? I don't know if this is going to help me or not. I paid a little bit today, and this I had prepared to pay on the 8th. I was going to escrow that, and then something came up. I have a child that lives in the same apartment building as me. She was supposed to be here today, and she applied for an extension. So I didn't end up paying that. I had every intention of having 1,000 more on today, but I just
Hold it.
so I will have more. I got sick and I got sick and had 8 days off work.
Show this.
And so I just went back. I went to the doctor and I was 8 days off work. I apologize. I had that prepared and I haven't. So just asking, can I have more time? Yes, sir.
You called them to see if you could work out. I mean, what's your monthly rent?
It's $1,574. They gave me 2 different leases. At first,
It's okay.
74. Then they said 68.
All right, that's fine. But it's around 1,600, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
You have $5,692. But then come Monday, I'm tacking basically 1,600 onto that. I'm going to be at about what, $7,300.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I had 2 incomes, so that's why I was hoping.
I know, and I get what may have happened in the past. But what I'm trying to figure out is how do you see yourself getting out of this?
Working, I have a monthly income, and then on top of that, I have another income coming in. It just, with me being behind, I have a doctor's note that I was taking off work, and and because I work with food, they take off work. I know I can 5 of it.
Hey, take a breath.
Okay.
I get that things may have happened. You got behind.
Yes, sir.
That's where we are right now. Okay. What I'm asking is, how do you envision yourself getting out of this?
Well, one of my jobs is working for myself, and it's lucrative. I just needed to get better, and I needed to rent a car. So that's what I did. And then the other income is monthly. It comes in on a regular. So I just needed more time. He was being honest with me. He didn't think that Haverhill would agree to that. But if he could, if I'm beseeching the court, because I got behind the first time when my wallet was stolen, and I explained that to you. And then my refrigerator went out, so I had to replace. And Haverhill told me they were going to replace my groceries the 3 times my refrigerator went out, but they didn't. So I had to take some of the money that was set aside.
Ma'am.
So I'm just asking for more
Had
time.
come up with $5,692. How much time would it take you to come up with?
No matter what I say, you really want the truth?
Ma'am, I asked the question.
I asked them to the end of June, but let's be real. That's going to give me to July, the middle of July. I'll have it. All of it. And I can continue pay the court like you gave me permission last time to escrow my rent. Because of all of the things, there's still things that are not fixed. They text me and said some things are fixed, some things aren't still fixed. The closet doors still broken. We're not even in there. My refrigerator is still out right now, and my stove. So that's why you gave me permission to escrow my rent.
But I don't have it. I don't have the rent.
I'm paying on it. And you give me a little time so I can prove that to the court.
That's what I'm trying to add. I don't know. And I've tried to ask you different ways. I don't understand what your plan is. I mean, I may do something they don't want me to do, but I don't even have a plan. I don't even have a framework.
Well, if I can get it, if once I get it below a certain amount, if the money is not depleted from Hawk, they will help me with the last remaining $3,000. So that's more reasonable. That's more realistic because it's there for us.
How much do you have today to put down?
Not even 1,000, not even 500. I put a little bit down a few moments ago, but the money that I have now in the bank, I need to rent. There's weekly rent for the vehicle. And I don't have it now, but I have to re-rent it next week on Wednesday so that I can make more money and get to my other jobs. So once I get it below rent, once I get it to 3,000, Hawk will pay that amount.
They will.
So Hawk,
No.
you don't believe that they will? That's what they tell me. They keep telling me.
That's their minimum amount that you have to be at for them to consider it. I can tell you right now, at least based upon the last report I have, that they're out of funds. I don't know what they're going to get.
They're helping the lady next to me, sitting next to me.
All right, ma'am. That's what you want to believe. When are you gonna be able to get it down to 3,000? Because that means you got to come up with about $2,700.
I can have that by the end of June because I get paid from one job every.
I can't have the landlord wait to the end.
Can we request it?
Because listen, just think about this. The math doesn't work. If I give them a judgment saying, okay, I give her to the end of June to get that $2,700 paid, they still have 3,000 plus June's rent going into July. So then July's rent will be up.
Well, every 2 weeks I get about 1,500 just from grinding.
If you sat down and figured out a plan for how you could get this paid,
Yes.
can you tell me what that plan is?
Okay. So since I get paid on a daily basis from one job, I can bring that to the court. And I requested
And that's not a plan. I need to know how much can you pay.
I can bring a cashier's check in the amount of $1,500.
When?
Well, since they won't give me to the end of June, will they give me till June 28th? Or can they give me till June 27th, 26th?
For $1,500?
No, I get paid like I can cash out one job every day, every other day. I can bring you $1,500 in 10 days. Give me 10 days, I'll bring you $1,500. And in another 10 days, I'll bring you another $1,500. I also have a monthly income that I get, which is a little bit over 1,000 because I have a disability. So I'm on disability and I get that on a regular. I just asked till the end of June.
To pay everything up?
Yes. And then if Hawk does not deplete, by the time I get it down to 3,000, I will bring you proof that Hawk has approved of me. Once I get it down to 3,000, I will come back and I will just leave it with the receptionist ladies. And I would bring you the ledger. I requested a rent ledger and the attorney was kind to share it with me because my apartment complex refused to give me a copy of mine, but you have it in front of you. But I asked because that's what Hawk is requesting. So he showed it to me. So every 10 days, I'll check in with the court and I'll drop that $1,500 every 10 days. So in 20 days, I should have 3,000 to you. Is that a good enough plan? Because I've been trying, if I hadn't been off work, I would have had more money and more time. Every 10 days, I'll bring it in. Maybe I'll bring it every 7 days. I'll bring you some money and I'll have it to the 15th, 14th District A. for my rent to be escrowed with you. So instead of every 10 days, I changed it. I'll bring it every 7 days. I'll bring you a check down here to escrow my rent. And then buy me some time, hopefully. Oh, the other thing they asked me to ask, will you take a cashier's check? Because they said they couldn't receive it.
You need to pay it to the landlord. Because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find no trouble issue. I'm going to issue a judgment for possession. Total amount of that rent will be $56.92. With a writ to issue. If, however, the defendant pays $1,500 to the landlord on the 8th, I'll extend the writ to the 18th.
Okay.
If $1,500 is paid to the landlord on the 15th or on the 18th, then the writ will be 29th.
Okay. Can you say those dates again?
8th, 18th, and 29th.
Okay.
You
15.
got to pay $1,500, and then the balance of this judgment by the 29th.
$1,500 each time, and instead of doing it here, I'll pay it directly to my landlord.
Right to the landlord.
Thank you.
So Your Honor, just so I'm clear, 1,500, then the balance.
The balance of this.
So
Now, ma'am, you need to understand that doesn't include this judgment I'm issuing doesn't include your June rent.
Right.
Still going to owe your June rent,
Yes, sir.
but I'm going to give it to put that one. Thank you.
So until the 29th, right?
You got to listen, so that you
The
understand.
balance.
Make these incremental payments.
Yes.
So you don't pay them, so that I'm real clear. If you've got to pay that $1,500 on the 8th. You don't pay them on the 8th, that they get their writ.
They're going to get their money.
Okay, but I need you to understand what I'm saying.
I do.
So on the 15th, you need to pay $1,500. On the 8th, you need to pay $1,500. On the 18th, you need to pay $1,500. And by the 29th, you need to pay the entire balance.
Yes.
Any of those payments are missed, they get their writ, you're evicted.
It won't.
Am I clear?
You are very crystal clear.
Thank you. Have a great day.
So much. I appreciate you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
I promise you my last one's easy.
What'd you say?
I promise you my last one's easy.
Secretary of Veterans Affairs versus Anthony Reddick. You're welcome, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Judge. I'm Anthony Reddick.
You better make this easy, man.
Okay, so
Hello, Mr. Reddick.
Affairs of the United States of America.
All right. And where are we on this one?
Your Honor, this was the Secretary of Veterans Affairs bought this property at a foreclosure sale. Mr. Reddick is a occupant of the property. We have come to an agreement that he will vacate the property and relinquish possession of the property to the Office of the Secretary of Veterans Affairs by the 15th of June. And we've signed a consent judgment to that effect.
Is that correct, Mr. Reddick?
yes, sir.
You're a veteran, sir?
Yes, I am, sir.
What branch?
United States Air Force.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
How long were you?
13 years.
All right. And what, you fell behind and
I lost my job, and there was no way of me without having a job because I'm supply chain management, so I had a very good job, and I haven't been able to find a job to replace that level of income, and that's the reason why I fell behind.
on the 15th, what are you going to do?
15th, I'll be out.
Oh,
I'm going to put all of my stuff into a storage, and I'm going to figure out where I'm going to stay then. That's my immediate plan. I mean, I do have sons and daughters here, so push come to shove, I could probably stay with them. For right now, the plan is I'm seeking, obviously, an eviction doesn't help. So seeking a rental apartment or anything like that with my credit, et cetera, that's a challenge. I've tried not to have to rely on the Veterans Administration to help me further. I don't plan on.
But you earned it.
I did, but
You earned it. You don't have to apologize to anybody. You earned it.
thank you, sir.
I sit here and I just know I get to do what I get to do because people like you did what you did. I'm reminded of that every day. And I realize they have to do it. I'm not blaming council, but when our veterans fall on hard times, all of a sudden what we do is we just kick them to the curb. And you just don't know what you're going to do. You're saying you're going to get your stuff into storage, but you're not sure where you're going.
Right, sir.
Not happening, not today. Because I'm not going to enter the judgment. I'm going to adjourn it out. Let him sort out. Get your stuff into storage. Figure out where you're going. All right. I'm going to give you that chance. All right. Because I can't do it. I mean, if I have to, I will, but I should under these circumstances.
I'm trying to cooperate, but
No, I get it. You don't have to apologize for a darn thing. All right. If somebody, over the objection of plaintiff, I'm going to adjourn this to June 12th, 2026 at what time? At 1 p.m. and let you try to get a better plan together for yourself, see where you're going. Okay. I can't give you everything, but at least for your service, I owe you that.
thank you, sir.
All right. We'll see you on the 12th, Mr. Ray.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day, sir.
Thank you. You do the same. Babu Banda Pade. No, I'm messing it up. Versus Diet Connor. Your name?
Yeah, Kyle.
Where are we on this case? Termination?
Correct. So background story here is 9 months without rent.
Does she currently have a lease?
Currently, this is through Section 8 and it's
Pardon?
through Section 8, and they terminated their lease.
What's your position on this?
So that's why I asked for the 2 weeks adjournment so I could finish the other one because he knew he was in abatement. I didn't know he was in abatement.
What?
In abatement. With Section 8, he was in abatement. He knew that. I did.
Abatement for what reason?
That was withholding his rent. I don't know. It was between them two.
Why was the rent being abated?
Originally, the rent wasn't being abated because they said the house wasn't repaired.
Yeah.
And we passed even the city inspections.
Did you go back to Section 8 then?
And we tried to call, nobody would answer.
Then that's not her fault. The apartment, the unit goes into abatement
Correct.
because of repairs you failed to make. So they don't pay rent.
oh, sorry, the repair was done almost 9 months ago. We've been trying to contact them. And the city has been out there, re-inspected the house.
So about time this
Hold on. Who administers the Section 8 that you got this through?
RPI.
That's the problem.
Listen, so when the city came out, that was February of this year, right? So Section 8 told me when I talked to them in March, when he said he was going to evict me in May, when I talked to them, they told me, well, this is called retaliatory eviction. They told me to come here and let y'all know that this is what's going on, ask for another adjournment, because they're like, they said, he knows what's going on. I don't. So then I spoke with them in March because they said, don't worry about it. We're handling it. So then I spoke with legal aid because remember I came down last week. I spoke with legal aid. They're trying to help me with the whole Section 8 problem because of him. So they said, see if I can get adjournment till after the 2nd, because that's when they go in and talk to Section 8.
They're going in on June 2nd to talk to Section 8?
Yes.
Got it.
But Your Honor, just a couple things here to clarify. I have not gotten any communication from any attorney.
Yes, he did, Your Honor. I can
Stop. Go ahead. What were you saying?
So far, I've not gotten any communication from anybody or saying that, what are we doing next steps? In fact, even beyond that, we have had ordinance.
Here's my problem. I'm just going to stop both of you because here's my problem. If the initial basis of not receiving rent was an abatement for repairs, and then that subsequently that rent has not been turned on, that's not generally, if ever, the tenant's fault. It's something else. So I'm not punishing her because either you didn't do the repairs, but you're telling me you did, or that RPI won't do what they're supposed to do. I'm not doing that.
Well, here's the problem right now is that they've gone on for 9 months. I have
Pardon?
gone on for 9 months. I have nobody to talk to at RPI, no contact.
So you kick her out.
It's beyond that now. It's basically right now. There's that. There's the whole idea of the ordinance officers going out there. I'm in court. I had to pay $350 a couple months ago because the house was in bad shape outside because of trash and the like. And then on top of that, we also have to mow the lawn, do everything, and take care of the property, so that way she can live there. We're not getting any rent or anything for any.
But you wouldn't get the rent because there weren't repairs. That's where this starts.
Mm-hmm.
Then you do the repairs, you get the inspection, and I'm going by what you're telling me,
Exactly.
and RPI doesn't turn it back on.
But then what do I do at this point? Because we've done
You need to talk to RPI.
nobody's calling me back from market. Who do I contact at RPI? I've been trying to reach them for months. Nobody's answering the phone. Nobody's returning calls.
Legal Services is meeting with them. They told you on the 2nd.
Yes.
This matter is adjourned 2026. What time? 1 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
Court stands in recess. All right.
This hearing showcased a judge balancing legal obligations with real-world hardship across several eviction and housing disputes. In the first case, the court declined to delay enforcement after months of unpaid rent, emphasizing that sympathy alone could not override the growing debt and the landlord's rights. In a second case, a tenant facing thousands in arrears was given one final opportunity to avoid eviction through a strict payment schedule, with the judge demanding a realistic plan rather than promises. The most striking moment came when a military veteran facing the loss of his home explained how unemployment had led to foreclosure. Rather than immediately entering judgment, the judge paused the process, acknowledging the veteran's service and granting additional time to secure housing and develop a workable transition plan. The hearing concluded with a Section 8 housing dispute, where questions arose over repairs, rent abatements, and administrative delays. The judge expressed concern that a tenant should not be penalized for issues potentially caused by housing authorities or unresolved inspection processes. Overall, the courtroom highlighted the difficult intersection of financial hardship, housing stability, and legal accountability, showing that while courts must enforce the law, judges often search for practical solutions before ordering someone from their home.